Since we have an empty photo film, let's now look at some of the functionality. These will just be some fundamentals so you can create whatever your mind could imagine. Sometimes just knowing that the tools exist gives you more ideas and allows you to have fun and make things that people are very curious about. How did that person do that? So let's look at some of the tools. We're familiar with the selection tool, and it's a quick key V, just like in Illustrator. They call this the move tool in Photoshop. And then the next tool is the marquee tool. This tool is similar to Photoshop, and I'll show you some examples. So first, I'm going to go to the top and select all. What it does is it just selects my complete photo film. And then now I'm going to go edit, fill, and I'm just going to fill it. I can fill it with patterns and stuff, but for now I'm just going to fill it with black. So now you can see clearly there's like a stroke around that is kind of moving, like it's moving to the right. That's my selection stroke. So with the marquee box, I'm just going to go select, deselect, quick key D. With my marquee box, maybe I'll draw a square. And then on a new layer, I'm just going to go edit, fill, and now this time I'm going to select a pattern. This pattern, you can select whatever patterns you want. And Photoshop has a bunch of predetermined patterns, or you could buy some and upload them. Or you could go to DeviantArt and find some. Maybe we'll do that quick. Let's just go to DeviantArt. And look at, let's just search Photoshop patterns. So these are all patterns that you could download. So this one this one looks fresh. Let's select that one. And they're going to give you a link to download. Sometimes you got to find the link. Let's see, right here, download. So it's going to download a zip file. So I'm going to save it to my computer. And then all I have to do now is so I'll just load that pattern. And you're going to see now the pattern is there. So I'll just hit OK. And now I have kind of a funky pattern that Photoshop doesn't have. So this is important to do. Very important to be a good designer. Okay, so now that I have my pattern, and on the back I have a background, let's look at a few more tools. So I have the ability to draw horizontal and vertical lines as well as spheres. And I'm just going to add a new layer and then draw a line. And I'm just going to go edit stroke and I'm just going to pick a kind of a cool color. Okay. So now I created a stroke line, and you'll see why in a sec. So next we have our lasso tool and our polygon lasso tool. So let's just look at it. So the lasso tool is just like a lasso with a cowboy. I can draw, I'm just going to hide. I can draw like an area and then go Control X, and I can cut that right out. And the reasons why you might want to do this is, let's say I don't want this line to be apparent on the pattern. I'll just draw an area around it, like lasso it, like you would a bull, and then Control X, and then it cuts that area out. So the next tool here is the polygonal lasso tool, and that just is the same thing but straight lines. And in this case, it's important for me to have a straight line because the lasso tool made it hard for me to cut perfectly. But if I draw with the polygonal lasso tool, it's going to allow me to cut perfectly on straight lines. Just a little handy kind of trick. All right. So I got 3 layers. I have my line, I have my pattern, and I have my black area. And also with my line, if I wanted to, like let's say I didn't cut it and I just dragged it behind the pattern. That's another way of doing things. So let's look at the following tool. It's called the Magic Wand tool. This tool is very important for many ways. So what it does is, let's say I have my black layer selected and I click, it's going to select all the black in that layer. Another example, let's say I have my line selected and I click on my line. It's going to select just the line. Let's say with the pattern, Control D, deselect, and I select just maybe my, let's say I just select up here. It's going to select all the shades of yellow, 30 values up or down. So 30 shades brighter, 30 shades darker, it's going to select that. So if I go to 3, so just 3 shades, Control D, you're going to see it selects a little bit. Now, let's say I want to select just an area. You see how it's selecting all the similar shades within this layer? 30 shades below or above. But it's not picking all the shades within the pattern. Basically what it does, just like if you poured water into a glass, where it just confines until it realizes that this shade is too far off from the 30% value. So if I hit contiguous and I select now, you're going to see it picks all the colors within that area. So I'm going to show you guys another example of that. So I can also, with the magic wand, do select all, sample all layers. So I'm going to click that and you're going to see what happens. So now that I have sample all layers selected, I'm going to click on the black area. What it does is it selected all the black in this image with 30 pixels up. If there was black on the pattern, it would select that as well. So, but it also selected both of these sections, yet they're not linked. So if I hit contiguous, I'm just going to deselect and I select, you see it only selects one of the side. I'm still sampling all the layers, but I'm only, contiguous just means it's, I guess, not continuing to look through the whole graphic. If I have contiguous not selected, it's going to select both of the parts. And why you might want to do that, like let's say I wanted to cut that out, add a new layer, and then I'd fill it with maybe white. You know, sometimes you're just going to want to section off pieces. So last little tool that's worth looking at, I'm just going to go Control Z. You have 99 undos in Photoshop. You can increase that if you want, if you have enough RAM. So the last tool I want to look at is it's in the Magic Wand, but it's called Quick Selection Tool. And what it does is it just allows me to like select matter like quickly, kind of, and you like it just kind of guesses what I want to select. And this is just kind of handy. I'm just going to go Control D, deselect. Show you another example. This can be sometimes handy when you're cutting people out. But my furnace turned on, so that's the end of this video. And we'll look at that tool a little bit more in depth in the following examples. So try that out, practice, cut things out, start mocking up your profile page. Thank you.